From the album All That You Can't Leave Behind, that's you too with Elevation. My guest of the day is here, ready to get on air.
94.3.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
One of India's most eminent photographers and a wonderful, genteel personality, Subi Samuel is here. Wonderful to talk to you. How are you doing? How are you holding up, you and the family in lockdown, dear Subi?
It's been a pleasure just coming back and just chatting with you, buddy. But more importantly, through the lockdown, I think it's been a good season. We've had a good time. As a family, we've enjoyed each other and, just had a fabulous time just spending some really quality time with the kids. And, so in that sense, it's been excellent. Yes, of course, we've all gone through the process of lockdown, being forced into one place and all of that. But I think it is for the larger good. So no complaints about that.
Yeah, I think professionally, we've just got to write off year 2020 going into 21. Professionals like you and me. That's the way it is.
Well, we still have a few more months left. Let's not write it off. Let's just hope that, our best is yet to come. In the next 6 months, it could still turn around to be one of the most fruitful years, I believe, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Now, before we come to the Hindustan Times brunch shoot with Milind Soman and his partner, I want to know about how early you started adopting technology, because, Subi, you've been around for a while. If I can be called the dinosaur of radio, having straddled 2 generations, you're that for camera work.
Yes, I've been around for a while.
Yeah. And, the thing is that when you go from, like in my case, from the CD generation or the DAT or the spool generation to the digital file generation, you see a lot, and it's important how early you adopt to the technology. Likewise for you, from going from the film to digital. When did you first adopt digital culture? How early on did you take to it? And did you take to it very happily, or did you take to it with a bit of trepidation years and years ago when the digital revolution started?
Well, when the digital started, it was not like, what it is today. So yes, there was a lot of trepidation and we had to do a lot of experimenting. Thankfully, you see, I come from a time when, while there was all the professionalism that, we talk about today, there was also a lot of relationships that were established. So a shoot, a picture going wrong or something like that, just because, the exposure went too high or went too low. Those were not really such issues. Although we really didn't face too much of that. I think I did a lot of experiment amongst my friends who are non-professionals, friends who were looking out for a portfolio, stuff like that. And that is how I kind of slowly built up my understanding of digital. So while people were still trying to, get a grip on digital, there was a lot of things that I picked up purely because I spent a lot of time experimenting amongst my friends. I think that is, change is inevitable. There is always going to be developments that are going to come, and you need to be somebody who keeps, adapting to the change and to the technology. If you don't do that, you will, sooner than later, you will get run over, because there's already, a whole generation behind that's trying to overtake you and try to, outdo you. But the good news is that talent is something that, these technological challenges are something that, you need to really get challenged with. You just need to adapt to it, and you just need to improve upon it.
Lovely. A lot of classical photographers turn around and say, oh my God, now everybody's become a photographer with the advent of mobile phones. Everybody just fancies themselves as a photographer. Have you seen that affecting you as a professional photographer? Because at the end of the day, when you're working with these agencies, when you're working with magazines, the entire creative team has been doing their own shooting on their own mobile phone. Generation Y will turn around and say, hey, Subi, fine. You've been around for a long time, but we've also clicked a few photographs. So how do you adapt to this new culture of everybody being a photographer with a mobile phone?
See, I really don't care, because I think it's like, you being at a party and everybody becomes a singer, but a real singer is never going to be threatened. He'll smile and he'll say that, that's fine. Great, good. You sang one song. Where is the consistency? So I think for professionals, what we bring to the table is consistency. What we bring to the table is that, it's not a hit and miss. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of homework that has been done. Yeah, there will always be digital photographers. I mean, when I go to drop my kids to Lokanwala Ryan School, on that back road, you see at least 30 to 40 kids every morning who is shooting somebody or the other. There is no theory or, basics in place. But they're all shooting and they all get pictures and they're all happy because, they're looking at that one picture. For professionals like you and me, we are we are looking at, how do we bring this a professional touch to this, and how do we do this consistently over a period of time. So obviously, those are factors that always will be there. There will always be the agency guy who will say that, hey, I got a better picture. Good for you, man. I mean, it doesn't affect me in terms of my confidence or in terms of my security.
Very beautifully put, and good for young photographers to learn that.
Ace lensman Subi Samuel shall continue on the show with me. I'm HrishiKay, and here's some Bastille for you, a song called Bad Blood, only on 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. Nico Santos and Topic with their worldwide blockbuster hit Like I Love You. Photographer Subi Samuel becomes the first photographer in the country to shoot a magazine cover over a photo and video recording app. Let's talk about that now with Subi.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Now let's come to the Hindustan Times brunch shoot. For those of you who don't know, this is really, in effect, India's first glamour photography shoot on over Zoom. And it's wonderful how Subi really and his team really adapted to the changing times and got this done on Zoom. But I'm sure it wasn't easy going all the way. Let's start at the top. Who commissioned the project? Was it Jamal Sheikh? I know Jamal and you have been collaborators for a while. Let's talk about how the beginnings of this shoot happened.
Yeah, so the idea came via Jamal, who called me and asked me, are you up for this challenge? Let's try this. It'll be fun. And my immediate response was, give me a day. Let me call on some of my dear friends and see who is available for me to do some test shoots, work out some ideas, strategies, and then let's call up Milind and discuss this with Milind. So that's how the inception of the shoot happened. And then the next day I called on one of my very, very close friend who also assists me on a lot of my shoots, Benji. And Benji and I did a Zoom call, and I did a few shots, did the permutation combinations, experimented a lot, figured out what are the essentials for the shoot, and we were ready for the shoot. In 3 days' time, we were shooting with Milind. Something as simple as that.
Now, we'll come to the technicalities of it in a bit, but on a lighter note, I've faced this so many times with Milind Soman. I'll say, you want to pre-record a show, go live, man. Let's get on the air at 9 o'clock in the morning. The vibe, the instant connection is amazing. At 8:59 at 9 a.m., I'm calling, buddy, I'm in the lift. First he won't pick up, then he'll say, buddy, I'm in the lift. Okay, listen, play a song. And by the time the song finishes, I'll be there and we'll be on air. And my heart is just beating and going to pop out of my heart. And he actually makes it there at 9:02 when the song is about to get over. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, Milind Soman live on the air. So did he give you any heart attacks? And we don't mean in a disrespectful way. We love Milind, but we're just saying.
Yeah, in fact, it's printed there in HT Brunch. I called Jamal because we were supposed to start shoot at 5 o'clock. We have 1 hour, setting sun, have to finish these 4 changes. And I'm calling Milind from 4:30, no response. Sorry, I started at 4:15 with the message, the gentle message saying,
yeah, you always do that, yeah.
Forward, excited, all of that. No response. 4:30, no response. 4:45, no response. I call Jamal at 5 o'clock and I'm like, Jamal, I think the shoot is getting pushed. Milind has not responded. And Jamal says, maybe we may have to put it forward, but let me just have a word with him. Let me see what is happening. Okay, cut to, he's hung up and I hear my phone ringing. It's Milind on the phone. Starts with a laughter, charmer that he is, starts with his smile. Then he goes on to say, oh, I've got this. And you're looking at it and you're like, dude, you could have just, shown me all this 15 minutes ago, saved me the blood pressure. But the guy is so cooperative and it is so much fun to work with, and what a beautiful couple, So as a couple, when they come together, there's so much of chemistry. There's such a good looking couple, makes life so much easy. We literally finished this in about 45 minutes, Rishi.
Now, have you shot with Milind Soman before, or was this the first ever time that happened?
This was my first shoot with Milind. We've connected, we've spoken a lot of times, but we've never really come to shooting together.
Wow. Okay. Now, apprehensions from your side, from Milind's side, before you went into this particular shoot. I mean, it's never been done before, right? You've always been physically involved. Your team, your entourage has been around, and it takes a small army in a shoot. So let's talk about apprehensions and what was going on in your mind and Milind's mind.
So there was obviously a lot of apprehensions, but see, the good part is that, you have nothing to lose and a lot to gain. So if you do this, you become the first. So there is obviously that big one. And at the same time, there is a cover coming out every week on HT Brunch itself, right? But this is one of those covers that will be remembered for a long time to come. If you talk about COVID and photography, you will have to talk about this shoot. So there was obviously that big motivator. On the flip side, in terms of apprehension, I've been around, Milind has been around, Jamal has been around. So we obviously don't want to have a bad cover. And once you do a shoot, you don't want it to be dumped. So those are just a few factors. But in all honesty, my homework was in place. The moment I did finish my test shoot with Benji, I knew that we can crack this and make this happen. So there was no doubt that, if I get my models in place, I will be able to do this very, very easily.
Creating history with his homework and professionalism is photographer Subi Samuel. We're going to come back to his awesome career and work, but not before I play you some Doja Cat and Nicki Minaj. This is the remix of Say So. You're tuned into 94.3 Radio on One World, your station, and I'm HrishiKay. Rocker Katie Tunstall with Suddenly I See. My guest of the day, photographer Subi Samuel, has very successfully turned a drawback into an opportunity in these challenging times. Hindustan Times Brunch's cover story featuring Milind Soman and Ankita Konvar involved a detailed photo shoot, and Subi used the Zoom app, maintaining social distancing, to execute it to perfection. I'm in conversation with the photographer this morning.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
So the test shoot happened with whom and where did it happen, and what did you go through in the test shoot before you went into the final one?
I needed to figure out technical details. I needed to figure out, what are the things to look out for, what are the things that I should stay away from. So I did this with a friend of mine who also assists me on a lot of my shoots. But on the day of the shoot, there was nobody. We were shooting at home. But otherwise, once you have all the factors that you need to pay attention to in place, then it's something that you can work with.
Now, I understand that, you were in Versova in your house, your studio. Milind and Ankita were in their place in Shivaji Park. Houses are tricky, especially if you don't have ring lights and this and that. And how do you take the right kind of light? And, it's very easily said that, there's sunrise lighting and there's sunset lighting. But which is the right light that will pervade that Shivaji Park house?
Yes.
Did it take you some time to do that? Did you have to do some dry runs with Milind before you figured that out?
So before the start of the shoot, we did look around. But he had sent me pictures of his terrace the previous day. So I had a fair idea of how it is going to look and where the sun is and, all of that in place. The beauty of this whole shoot was that at the time of the shoot, we suddenly realized that we need one more person who's going to hold Milind's phone.
Sure.
For the shoot, And Milind just, sheepishly say, hey, I don't have any spot boys here. We are in the lockdown. And finally, he asked his mom to come. And she was the one who was holding the phone for us. And, I had to keep screaming because she's holding the phone at a distance, right? So I had to keep screaming and say, little more forward, auntie, little more piche. And, there was this whole dialogue that was going on. And that is how we cracked the shots, which was something I didn't bargain for because even with my test shoot, it was a single person who was holding the phone at a distance like a selfie. We were not, prepared to have this extra person who is then going to go and hold the phone while the couple is posing.
Well, Mrs. Soman is famous for her marathon running and her activities at age 81, and now she adds her names to the annals of photography history. How cool is that?
Yes, of course. It's not.
So this was it the terrace of their apartment? Was it the terrace of their flat?
It was the terrace, yes.
And what happens normally is in traditional shoots, you film something or you shoot something and then you have a viewfinder where the models come in and look at those pictures. Traditionally. And Milind didn't get to do that. Was that kind of something that plays on his mind?
That's an era that's over long back, yeah.
Okay.
Because now, after that came in the digital era wherein you went in and you had, pictures coming on your computer and you could see everything on the computer larger than life and, you can look into the details of how you have shot the picture and all of that. The beauty of this shoot was that, the moment I finished my shoot and I packed up, I had everything out there for me to, look at and decide whether the shoot has been a success or it's been a failure. So even before you go to bed, that, you've cracked a winner.
Yeah, and going by your style, you're not so much into touching up and using software to enhance features and this and that. You'd like to have the shoot as natural as possible. And you found that happening, even through a photo or video app. Fantastic.
Yes.
In terms of that, let's talk about the camaraderie between the couple themselves. I mean, the fact that I've seen the pictures, they're wonderful. There's some cozy moments. There's just some very candid moments.
Yeah.
Talk about them as models, Ankita and Milind, in this particular shoot.
So yes, Milind is traditionally the guy who comes with the label of being the good-looking guy. But I must tell you, Ankita is a stunner. And I think, together they are just such a fabulous couple. And she is so warm and she's so out there in terms of, going and, just just helping out in the smallest of the details. So I really enjoyed shooting Ankita. I think she was just a treat, and she was, the cherry topping on this for me on the shoot. Together as a couple, it's two good-looking people who have this awesome chemistry between them, who look great together, and who are obviously very much in love. So you can see that, and that chemistry is what one is trying to capture. And I think we've done a fair bit of justice to that.
Always modest, Subi Samuel, but really, if you pick your copy of the HT Brunch off the shelf or a digital copy, you'll realize the genius of the man. Hang by for more of that genius coming your way, but only after Sean Paul on the playlist. This one's Get Busy, only on 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. My name is HrishiKay. Tayo Cruz and Kylie Minogue taking us higher with a song called Higher. One of India's most loved photographers, Subi Samuel, is my guest of the day. A name synonymous with glamour and concept photography in India. His work spans prestigious brands, major Bollywood celebrities, and sporting heroes. More chat.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Subi, when you look back at your career, we'd like to know some memorable shoots. I know it's very difficult to do. We're talking 2 decades plus, but some memorable shoots that you've been on that you still look back and say, if you were in your front porch as a retired person, I don't think you'll ever retire, but I'm just saying, stuff that you'd be proud of. Just pick some out for me and give me the reason why.
So many shoots that I really cherish. My first shoot with Mr. Bachchan was for the publicity stills of Kante. Iconic pictures.
Sanjay Gupta's film, yeah.
Sanjay Gupta's film. Sanjay called and said, Subi, we'll have to go to Kaun Banega Crorepati set. And that is where we're doing the shoot. And I have no idea that, we are going to do this. These are the stills that we're going to use as publicity stills. And so we land up at Kaun Banega Crorepati. We do these amazing portrait shots with Mr. Bachchan with just one light. Because I'm not thinking this is a film publicity shoot. I'm going there to do some, portrait shots with Mr. Bachchan, who is someone that I have grown up loving and, watching on screen. So obviously there is, this whole moment when you're stammering, moment when you're like, man, I've arrived. I'm doing this shoot with Mr. Bachchan himself. I think it is one of those things that will always be etched in my memory, that first shoot with Mr. Bachchan. We did those pictures and they turned out to be so good. They turned out to be really, even if I may say so, they turned out to be amazing black and white shots, which when I went to his home to shoot once, I saw those pictures in his home.
Wow.
Mr. Bachchan has just stairs that, you climb up to go to his office area, and the entire place is filled with pictures. And so when you start walking in, you see, some really young pictures of Mr. Bachchan, and then they, progressively, it's just stuff that has been added. You've seen caricatures, artists who have painted his pictures. They are all put up there, and it's like, a hall of fame. So you're walking up and you're like, as much as you're not expecting it, your eyes are looking for, is any of my work here? And then you suddenly see your picture. So for me, that was like, so I quickly picked up my phone and I just clicked some pictures of the same and I sent it to my wife. I was like, wow, this is it, man. This is, the big one for me.
Yeah, I've actually been to the office many times. I've been to the Jalsa bungalows where the office is on the side, and I've walked up those staircases. I didn't know that, those were your pictures. It's fantastic.
There's some pictures there. Then I did the stills for Devdas, which I will never forget, because that was a long shoot with Aishwarya Rai Bachchan. And that was again something that I really cherish, just for the professionalism of that shoot and the way that shoot was planned and the way it went. Obviously, my first shoot with Sushmita Sen, which went on to become, again, something that was very, very new and iconic at that point of time. More importantly, I found a friend in that shoot, which is a friendship that we still cherish and we still have. So that is again something that I always will keep very, very close to my heart. My shoot with Shah Rukh Khan, one of my first shoots in my career, was in Fatehpur Sikri with Shah Rukh Khan for a magazine called Star and Style back in those days, which was commissioned by the editor, Nishi Prem and Mushtaq Sheikh. Again, that was a friendship that has gone on to stay for a long time. So those are some things that I will never forget. I've really, really enjoyed building these relationships and doing these shoots.
Are you format agnostic in terms of the fact that your output, whether it'll go on magazines or whether it'll go on a film campaign or on hoardings, does that really matter to you? Do you have a favorite as far as that is concerned?
No, it doesn't. For me, every morning as I leave my home, I pray and I just say, God, this is again another day that I'm being tested. I want to come out tops. I want to see, that is also the kind of risk that your career and my career has. Every morning there's somebody who wakes up and says, "Arey, oh, abhi yaar, ho gaya, time ho gaya." Now you need something fresh, you need something new. So for people who are in the creative business, for us it is important that every day we churn out our best. We can't say, oh, it's just a magazine shoot. I get paid less, so I'm going to shoot, give only 50% of myself. And then when it is advertising campaign, I'm going to give my 100% or 150 because you give me bigger money. It doesn't work that way. Every day you have to come in with the same level of passion. You have to create the same kind of magic. You have to, you have to be as joyful and as cheerful, whether it is 5,000 or 5 million, you still enjoy and you celebrate your work. And I think, Rishi, you and I and so many others out there, I think we last the test of time purely because for us, it's not about money. I think the greater joy is the passion to, just keep doing our work.
So beautifully put.
The wisdom as well as the realism coming through in this chat with the wonderful Subi Samuel. I'm HrishiKay, and let's do some Harry Styles and his Watermelon Sugar. Only on 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. John Mayer is waiting on the world to change. In fact, so is everyone in the world in these trying times. My guest of the day, Subi Samuel's editorial work includes shoots and covers for almost all leading magazines editorially. His popularity with leading brands and magazine editors stems as much from his professionalism and good nature as his unerring ability to take beautiful pictures which sell both magazines and products and create mystical imagery for the stars. More in this interview.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
So what are your goals from here on? Is it just taking one day at a time, working with gratitude to the best of your ability? Or are you the kind of person who keeps a 5-year horizon or a 10-year horizon? I need to make a motion picture. I need to spread my wings. Where are you at?
Well, there are a lot of things that I have in my wish list or my bucket list. But honestly, I'd be lying if I said that, I had it all in place. I've planned everything there and, this is what is going to happen in another 3 months and 6 months and 9 months. No, none of that. In all honesty, one day at a time, grateful to God for what is happening, and yet at the same time have a few things that I'm working towards that I would love to see happening.
Let's talk about life in lockdown. I mean, is there any skill that you've worked upon other than, an online shoot, which you've created history for? Some people say that they've improved their jhadu pocha skills. Some people say they've learned to make a new dish. I, for example, have started learning a lot of audio software that I can use in my business. Is there a particular skill that has really evolved in these 90 days of lockdown?
Well, yes. All my life I've never cooked. I've never cooked, except for maybe in college once I did. I did some baked vegetables because I had a friend whose mum was very good at baking vegetables, and she taught me how to do this. But otherwise, I've never cooked. But through this lockdown, that is one area that has really evolved, and I have so enjoyed cooking. It's so therapeutic. In fact, I was talking to a friend of mine in US, and he laughed and he said, YouTube did some research, and they found out that the largest number or the most amount of downloads through this lockdown world over has been cooking videos. So I'm not the odd one out. Yeah, I'm not the odd one out. But I've learned to do so many dishes and kids.
What's your coup de resistance? Go on food. So I've really kind of aced chicken cafrial, and I've been enjoying the process. I've been enjoying doing it, and a lot of other things that I've been making. But I've really enjoyed this one process. Add to that, yes, I have learned in terms of professionally. I've learned some softwares. I've learned some other things on photography, which I've not used till now. So I'm really looking forward to, let's start work. Let's start getting into using all these new things that I've learned during these 90 days. And obviously, with this phased opening of the lockdown, you've got to keep your teams a little leaner. Already the film industry started talking about keeping lean shoots. It's not easy to do because, like I said, right at the top, it's a mini army out there, with light people, production people, stars teams and things like that. Have you and your fellow photographers or people or colleagues in the industry been talking about that, the way to get back in a phased manner to shoot?
Well, not with fellow photographers, but yes, definitely with agencies. So there are a couple of shoots that have been discussed even during the lockdown. And in fact, yesterday we were talking with this agency in Delhi, and we were trying to understand how we are going to manage the crowd, because the moment a celebrity comes in, you've got another 10 people coming in with the celebrity, which now has to be kind of really drastically cut down. So you have to make those requests, and you have to tell them, we are looking at trying to hire a makeup artist who can also do hair, so that you reduce that number. My assistants' numbers have been reduced drastically. Agencies not coming in. We are again going to put them up on Zoom, and they're going to watch everything on Zoom while the shoot is going on, so that they completely eliminate the option of flying in. We don't want a crowd. So those kind of things. I think this is going to be the new norm. This is how it is going to be. We've got to learn to understand that there is a virus out there. Until we find any kind of a solution, a realistic solution to it, we are all going to be working with these kind of limitations.
True that. Subi Samuel, the photographer, shall return for the home stretch of this interview with me. You wait for that as I play you some Nelly and My Place. I'm HrishiKay and this here is 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. Kelly Clarkson, the Hit Factory with another one of her big ones, My Life Would Suck Without You. Celebrity Life in Lockdown. Subi Samuel, ace photographer whose career spanned a couple of super decades, tells me about his life in these trying times.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
How are you and the wife and the kids doing for supplies? Just a day in the life of Subi Samuel. I mean, do you go out twice a week to do grocery and essential runs? Or does it come to the house or come to the building and, to the gate and you bring it up and sanitize it?
So most of the things that we are calling for, it's all coming online. So there is obviously your Amazon, there is DMart, all of those things are in place. But yes, the essentials like, your daily eggs, bread, milk is something that, you walk down, go pick it up by yourself. And thankfully, the place from where we pick this up outside the lane, there's a lot of discipline. I think those guys have been advised by the local administration. So there is a lot of discipline. The distancing is maintained. Pick up your stuff, bring it home. And obviously, I think everybody is doing the same thing. We are sanitizing it, washing it with soap, and then using it. So that is how most people in the building are doing it also.
And Subi, how are the kids holding up? I mean, it's not easy for kids aged 12 and lower like you have. With the excess energy that they have, they want to go out, play with their friends, hang with their friends, and they're not able to do it during this lockdown. So, the kids and their online classes and how they're coping with this whole thing.
I think that has been the biggest challenge for any parent because, you want your kids to go out, get some sun. You want them to, enjoy. I mean, my youngest one, imagine from the time she's 15 months old, she's been locked inside and she's today 18 months old and it's tough on them. What we've been doing is we've been stepping down the building in the nights and letting them, just walk and run and do whatever little they can. But there's no sun, and the building is very, very strict about these things that, you don't want people to be going out and strolling around and things like that. So it's been very tough. Add to that now that the schools have started, the online schools, it's not easy on the children, to suddenly put them in front of a computer and say that, now henceforth this is school for a while. It's been tough for them. But we've been trying to kind of, keep them motivated and keep their enthusiasm up, spend time sitting with them while they're doing their school and, just keep explaining things to them and just keep, cheering them up. I do make the odd egg dish and just bring it up and make the sandwiches, order all kinds of goodies that they like and bring it in and cook up something and put it out there. It's been a little tough, yes, but they're coping. Thanks.
Sweet. Always the family man, Subi Samuel, ace lensman there. Back to the music. A Genesis hit. Haven't played this in a long, long time. Jesus, He Knows Me. On 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. My name is HrishiKay. That's the band Portugal the Man, originally from Alaska, now settled in Portland, Oregon in the US. Feel It Still, their best known hit. Subi Samuel, the photographer, scored yet another coup by being the first to shoot a magazine cover over the Zoom app. Unless you see the fine writing, the cover looks like it's been shot in a state-of-the-art studio. A last leg of conversation with Subi.
94.3. This is Good Morning Mumbai with HrishiKay.
Just before we sign off, some photography and lighting tips for dummies. Everybody now is a YouTuber, like we said, is a photographer. And, people are constantly worried about how they're looking on the camera. So, when to use blue light and when to use white light and when to use yellow light, the softer ones. So just first, let's start with some lighting tips.
So let's kind of narrow this down to phone users. People who are using their phones to shoot pictures rather than going into the whole gamut of photography because that's really vast. But if you're using your phone camera and if that is what is the one machine that you're working with in terms of your pictures and your YouTubes and all of that, one of the keys is to not keep the camera under your chin, which has been one of the things that I've seen with a lot of people. There is a lot of error and a lot of mistakes that people do when they do that because except when you're doing fashion and you want those kind of dramatic angles, if you are going to put your camera really low and then you're going to sit and you start talking, it's not going to be very flattering to you. Ideally, keep your camera at eye level. Ideally, let the light fall all over your face. So in terms of understanding, keep the sunlight in front of you, not coming from too much from the side or, from behind your ears, because that's never going to work for you. These are some of the basics, real basics, look for what is behind you. Don't only look at your face, look what is behind you so that, you get a clean backdrop. You don't get distracting backdrops. You see to it that there is a light at the back so that, the background doesn't look too dark compared to your face because then you instantly know that there is artificial lighting that is going in the office. So switch on a light in the background. These kind of basic things that always add. And one of the things that I was saying to another friend of mine who started doing some YouTube videos is, don't get satisfied just because you saw one good frame. Keep working at it. Keep looking at it. Keep trying to see what can I do to better it. Should I move my phone a little to the left? Should I move it a little to the right? Should I just, go a little more higher? Should I keep it lower? What works best for me? Should I be a little more 45 to the camera? Should I be, facing it spot on, bang on? Is my face lean enough for that? All those kind of things. Just keep looking at yourself in the mirror and you will know what are the best angles, what works best for you. And then try to, bring that in more often than not in a moving camera.
Well, since you mentioned YouTube, a lot of YouTubers are saying that phone cameras seem to be better than laptop cameras.
Oh, yes. Most
I don't know why.
Most definitely. Laptop cameras are really, really bad. And other than the fact that, because the computer screen lights up, therefore you get a lot of light hitting your face. Other than that, phone cameras are definitely, especially if it's a high-end smartphone.
Yeah, but I find a lot of YouTubers are using laptops because then they can put a wired connection in, a LAN connection in, as opposed to Wi-Fi, but then there is a compromise on the photography.
On the quality,
The quality in itself. Listen, conversations with you are wonderful. It's almost as though you're sitting at a coffee shop or at home with a cup of coffee and tea and,
I think that's the kind of person you are. You're just complimenting. But, that's the kind of person you are, Rishi. It's always so much fun to talk to you. Thank you so much.
You're a kind man. Well, virtual hugs to you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know when we'll be able to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and my best wishes to the family. Thank you for having me.
Likewise. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. See you, Subi.
Bye.
Photographer Subi Samuel there, my guest of the day. REM classic for all of us now. It's Losing My Religion. You're tuned into 94.3 Radio on One World, your station. My name is HrishiKay.